Hi everyone, welcome back. I have saved your seat at my craft table. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and today we are creating this journal cover using Shabby Carousel by Shabby Art Boutique for the craft room. We'll be making a fabric big top tent, a decorative shaker background, and some tickets and interactive goodies to tuck inside the tent at the top. Other than the papers from the digital collection, the only other materials I've gathered include a cereal box, fabric, freezer paper, lace, and some fussy cut elements. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is print a page from the digital collection onto fabric for the big tent. So I cut a piece of freezer paper to a standard 8.5 by 11 size. I ironed out my plain cotton fabric before placing the freezer paper onto the fabric and then ironing the two together. Make sure the shiny side is touching the fabric so that it adheres. If you don't have freezer paper, you can also use sticker paper or even just tape copy paper to your fabric. Just be very careful about the edges and make sure that you have no loose threads on the edges that will get stuck in your printer. Make sure your freezer paper is completely adhered to your fabric. The freezer paper is going to act as our tool in order to feed the fabric through the machine. It is basically substituting a sheet of copy paper. Don't panic if you see small ripples after ironing. I worried about this too, but it printed out just fine. I'm now cutting right along the edge of my freezer paper with fabric scissors. When placing it into your printer, I put the fabric side down and I'm printing on a regular Epson EcoTank inkjet printer. And when it's done, you'll simply pull off the freezer paper, and we're going to set this to the side for right now and move on to the cover. The reason I'm going to set this aside for a moment is just to make sure it's completely dry and that the ink has fully set before touching it too much. Save your freezer paper. You can use this exact same sheet multiple times, and you'll want to redo this process 2 more times in order to finish the tent. What we're going to work on next is the front cover, which will technically be what shows inside or behind the big top fabric tent. This paper measures 5 by 7, and what I plan to do is to cut a piece of tooling to cover the paper. I'm then going to use my sewing machine and sew 3 sides down to my paper, leaving one side open at the top. Once all 3 sides are sewn, we now are going to have a pocket opening at the top where I'm going to mix together matching sequins and glitter and then dump my mix inside the pocket in order to make a shaker card background. Once filled, we're going to sew the top to seal the card. I ended up also sewing a sheet of acetate over my tooling, even though that was not the look I was originally going for because there was fine glitter dust that was escaping through the tool. Had I only used sequins and the large glitter, this wouldn't have been a problem, but luckily it was an easy problem to fix. If you don't have acetate, you can even use plastic wrap, photo insert sheets, or plastic packaging from when you buy stickers or other paper craft supplies at the store. Now that our shaker background is done, I set that to the side and I grabbed my fabric again to trace a big top tent topper. Say that 3 times fast. Big top tent topper. I'm tracing this on the back side of the fabric so there will be no pencil marks. I found this template on Pinterest and I sized it to fit my 5 by 7 shaker card. I want the edges of the tent to hang off the sides of our shaker card a little bit, so the width of this tent is 6 inches across. Once the top is cut out, I retrace the top onto 110-pound cardstock in order to give my fabric top more support. After tracing onto paper, I cut it out and I used pink thread in my sewing machine to sew the fabric top to the cardstock top that I just traced and cut out. Once the top is done, we are going to work on the drapes of the tent. So again, this is why we want to print our fabric design 3 times. 1 for the top and the other 2 to make the curtains. We're going to bunch the middle together and I'm going to use hot glue to glue down to the shaker that we made. You could also use a ribbon here in the middle to bunch your curtain together, but I'm going to glue my ribbon to the top once I'm certain what color I need. Either way, you're going to get the same effect of drawn back drapes, and my goal is for it to look like a big top tent is opening up for the audience to join in. After gluing down the middle on both sides, we're then going to glue the top on both sides and cut off the excess from the top. This part will be covered by the top of our tent. I've angled my camera to try to avoid the glare from the acetate now, but what we're going to do is glue the top of our tent to the drapery. When we glue it down, I want the top to be rounded out a bit instead of flat, so I'm being sure to squish or bend the top in slightly so that it isn't glued just flat to my paper. Then I'll add my ribbons as tie backs. I want to set a scene inside that displays the Ferris wheel, some beautiful ladies, and this cute little boy in the front. And then we are going to take this entire tent and layer it onto another page from the collection, and I printed this onto a 110-pound cardstock. I layered 2 tickets behind this ticket sign, and I'm going to place balloons in varying sizes behind the tent. These are the same balloons that the little boy is holding. I just enlarged them so that they would match the background paper and the balloons that the little boy is holding. I'm attaching them with bubble foam tape to add dimension. And I'm doing the same with these flowers on the sides. Some are glued flat to the paper, but most are attached using the foam tape. And the last image I'm going to add is of the popcorn bucket. Since the tent is not glued down flat to the 8.5 by 11 paper behind it, it acts as a pocket where we can stuff carnival treats. I'm starting with this rosette and adding elements to the front and tying matching lace, ribbon, and tulle to the stick, and it will then pop out from the top of the tent. This adds an interactive element to the journal, which can easily be removed when working inside the journal, or even to tuck somewhere inside as a bookmark or to flag a certain special page. So this is what we have made so far, and looking at this, I see open space at the top right where we still have room, so I decided to make a pinwheel for this side. I cut a double-sided piece of paper to measure 4 by 4 inches, and we are going to begin by folding it in half one way, opening it, and then folding it in half the other way, and pressing to make creases. Then open it back up and make sure you can see your creases going both directions. Next we want to take our scissors and we're going to cut right along those creases that we just made, but leave a little space before you reach the center. So notice I am not cutting all the way down the crease. We are now going to punch tiny little holes in the corner of each of these triangles. So you're going to have 4 tiny holes total. If you don't have a punch of this size, you can also use a pokey tool or a needle to poke a tiny little hole. And if your pinwheel is larger, you can even use a hole punch. You also want to punch a hole directly in the center. And then you'll take those corners that you punched and you'll fold them in towards the hole in the center. And we're going to push a brass fastener or brad through all the holes. The brad allows our pinwheel to move. If you don't care for it to move, you can simply glue each of these corners down to the middle and avoid punching the holes and using the brad completely. It will still look just like a pinwheel, it just won't be mobile. We are then ready to attach our pinwheel to our stick. I am using a paper straw, so I just squeezed it a little bit at the top and I punched a hole for the brad to go through. Since my pinwheel is tiny, I used a very tiny brad, and it wasn't long enough to also go through the straw, so I had to improvise. Here I'm using a second brad that is longer, and I'm just going to cheat a little bit by gluing my pinwheel to the front of this brad, and it is still going to spin. So to avoid my mistake, make sure your brad is long enough to go through the pinwheel and the straw. I was lucky that this still works and I'm able to spin this freely, but the durability is obviously not as strong as if the brad went through both materials. I added the same lace, ribbon, and tooling that I used for my rosette to my pinwheel, so now I have texture on both sides of my tent top. The last little detail that I add is a paper flower right in the center to cover the brad, and now I'm ready to tuck this into the top of my tent. I'm also going to add these 3 ticket strands, and I've punched holes between each individual ticket using a hole punch to give them a more realistic look. These can also be taken out and used as bookmarks to star a special place in your journal. Now that the cover is finished, we are going to make our base of our book. I am using a Pops cereal box, and I've cut away the extra little flaps, so all that remains is the front, the spine, and the back of the box. I then covered the cereal box with a 110-pound white cardstock to cover the hideous bright yellow of the box, and also to add additional support to the walls. We are going to cover one side plus the spine with this fabric. Normally I would cover the entire box, but we don't need to because we have our front cover that we just made, and this is just a base for some pretty lace that we're going to use for the rest of the cover. I want to make sure my fabric goes over the front cover just a little bit to ensure that the hinges of my spine are covered. I'm using Mod Podge and I'm gently pressing the fabric to avoid glue stains. When we flip it over, we want to glue down our corner first before then gluing the sides. And I'll repeat that at the bottom by pushing the corner down first and then bringing up the sides. It's okay if this looks ugly right now because this will all be covered in a moment with paper. This is the pretty lace that we are going to show on the rest of our cover, which will be the back and the spine, and it's the same lace that we used as the tiebacks on the tent, so everything will be cohesive and blend together. And I'm following the same technique we just did, but using hot glue instead. Fabri-Tac would work really well too, but I'm out. So now this lace is what we're going to see on the spine and back cover. On the inside, I'm going to add this paper to the spine. I use Mod Podge, which also adds another layer of strength and support. And then I printed these two sheets for the inside covers. To avoid air bubbles, I like using a brayer to make sure that everything is flat. You could also use a credit card. I want an inside pocket on the front side, and I'm going to make that out of 2 sheets of acetate that are sewn together on 3 sides, leaving the top open to add more glitter and sequins like we did on the front. And then I'll sew the top closed, and now we have another little shaker. I'm going to glue this down with hot glue, leaving the top open for our pocket, and add some glitter tape around all the edges for a more finished look. Now we're going to add the front cover to our base. I do this last so that we don't smush anything when using the brayer. And there we have our journal cover with some removable carnival treats here at the top, an interactive pocket on the inside, and then the next step will be adding in our pages onto the spine and making a giant chunky charm dangle for the spine. Thank you for tagging along and crafting with me today. I will see you all very soon. Until then, take care.